to the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey, and Brian Sexton have all the news and information to get you ready for today's game.
Into the end zone, touchdown!
The Publix Tailgate Show is brought to you by Baptist Health, Farah and Farah, Yucatan Guacamole, and by EverBank. The Publix Tailgate Show starts right now.
Good morning. Welcome to Week 18 in the National Football League from the Hyundai Studios at EverBank Stadium. Brian Sexton along with Mike Dempsey. And Mike, the most simple way to present the top story is everything is on the line today for the Jaguars.
Winning, you're in.
The division title, a home playoff game, their goals for the season, a potential playoff run, all sits at win and you're in. And I present this to you because the Jaguars have had some big games on their schedule this year. There were 5 that I circled when the schedule came out in late April, early May. They were Kansas City, Buffalo, San Francisco, Cincinnati, and Baltimore. And the Jaguars only won 1 of those. And here they are, not having had great success in those, quote, big games, with the biggest game of their season against a divisional opponent.
Yeah, the difference is all those are really good teams. And Tennessee is not. I mean, quite frankly, the Jags have no excuse today that it's a 5-win team that has struggled all year, has all kinds of issues defensively, can't protect their quarterback. So, yeah, you're right. The Jags have come up small in some big moment-type situations, Brian, but it's generally been against the much higher caliber of competition.
And, of course, we only have to go back a couple of years when the Colts came here in 2021.
Sure.
To understand the circumstances can change. Pardon me. I agree with you, though. This is a game that the Jaguars should win. Question mark at quarterback for the Jaguars once again. Trevor was throwing late in the week. We'll find out in about an hour and a half whether or not he's the go-to guy or not.
Yeah, the internet sleuths were out yesterday. I don't know if you saw it. He was carrying his bag in his right hand. So they determined, well, that must mean...
Was he lifting it over his head?
No, he wasn't lifting it over his head, but that must mean that he's not worried about putting any extra stress on the right shoulder, and therefore he is good to go. That's what the internet says.
That's where we're at in today's day and age of micro-dissecting every little clue. Look, I'm guilty of it too. I listen to what they say. I look for the body language in these guys, and that's why I didn't think he was playing last week. But you know what? This week, I don't know. I couldn't tell going through the week. It wasn't clear to me one way or the other.
Well, if Ian Rappaport's report yesterday was correct, where he said that they believe he can't further injure the shoulder by throwing, now you can get it further injured if you take a hit on it, but you could do that with a healthy shoulder. If that's the case, I'd be shocked if he doesn't play today. Yeah. I mean, if it really comes down to a pain tolerance issue, nobody's ever questioned Trevor Lawrence's ability to tolerate pain. I mean, all the different injuries that looked like it might have kept him out multiple weeks, and he returns to games, doesn't miss any time, so I'm expecting him to go today.
And there is the potential that you would have your entire offense with the addition of Ezra Cleveland, and you haven't seen them all together since that Buffalo game back at Tottenham. You could have Christian Kirk and Zay Jones and Evan Ingram and Calvin Ridley and Travis Etienne and Cam Robinson all on the field at the same time today. So we'll see where that one goes. We'll find out again. The inactive list comes out in about 85 minutes. So let's get to the big stories this week. I mentioned that the Jaguars had not come up big in the, quote, big games on their schedule this season. They're in a position today in what is a big game, even if it's against a Titans team that is not very good. I asked the head coach about his team's big game mentality.
You're right in the sense that we haven't performed well in the big game yet. And these are the things that I keep stressing to our team. Expect to be in big games, right? Expect to be in these types of football games, in these types of moments where there's maybe a little added pressure, and you kind of feel that pressure. And we haven't handled that extremely well this year. But listen, one thing about this team, as you guys know, they come out and play hard when their back's against the wall a little bit. They seem to find comfort in that.
Look, Brian, I think it's pretty obvious, this is different than all those other situations. There was always another game you could go on to, another month you could go on to. And this is, there's nothing quite like getting you focused like you lose and your season is over. And this team, the core of this team, went through this last year where they felt like they had to win every single game down the stretch, and they did. right up until the final week of the season when they knocked off Tennessee. So I think the core of this team is very familiar with this feeling. Hopefully that performance last week, albeit against another bad team, but that's how you handle a bad team. You dominate them the way they did Carolina, has them putting that recent 4-game losing streak in the rearview mirror. I mean, that's all we can hope for.
I think that's the key.
They come out, it's a fresh season today.
Jaguars dominated the defensive line of scrimmage last week. They had 6 sacks, as we know, and the Titans have given up 6 sacks in 2 of the last 3 games. So there's an opportunity today for the Jaguars to come out and play the same style of football. Will they? And that's the question. We'll find out at Nissan Stadium in Tennessee. All right, Trevor Lawrence didn't play last week. First time he'd missed a game in his professional career. Only the second time in his career he missed a game with COVID when he was at Clemson. He was asked this week, what was it like for you to stand and watch? Did you come away with anything that made it worth your while?
I thought it was cool to be able to, share my thoughts with, Mike and Press and Phil and Doug and whoever on the sideline or halftime or whatever it was. I thought that was cool being more a part of that, because usually when you're playing, you'll talk about some adjustments maybe at halftime, but you're really just focusing on the next series and kind of the adjustments you're going to make. So it was definitely a different perspective. I think it gives you a good perspective on the game and what it is. And I think it also takes a little bit out of it of just, at the end of the day, it's just a game. I think you realize that when you take a step back and get to watch guys and see how they go about their process and see things that you don't really pay attention to because you're so in the moment when you're about to play. That was kind of cool getting to see, but don't want to get used to it. That's not where I want to be, is standing over there and not being able to play.
Yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence tried to make the most. He knew he was going to get these kind of questions this week. These guys at this level don't feel like they're learning more by sitting out and watching. Like intellectually, he knows he's got to protect the football better. I don't think watching C.J. Beathard not throw an interception made the light bulb come on for Trevor Lawrence. He needs to play well himself, needs to play within the confines of the play call and not put his team in jeopardy and not squander scoring opportunities. And I think if he does that today, everything's going to be fine.
The telling part of that answer, of course, for those of you who are listening on the radio, is his body language was no. There's little things that I was able to see that I had not been a part of before, but this was not about me. This was about me getting healthy to get out there the next week.
Right.
Totally.
And people had suggested, we heard it this week. I heard it plenty of times. They need to sit him another week. They didn't sit him last week. No. He could not play last week. If he's able to go today, there's no question who's going to be out there on the field.
Side benefit is it stopped that downward trend with the turnovers, and the offense got some things going that it hadn't. But having Trevor out there, especially if Christian Kirk and Zay Jones are on the field, should be a big step forward this week. And Press Taylor was in his weekly news conference and asked the question, do you want to put up big points early? I mean, is that the goal this week, is to get some early points and make those guys think about being in Cancun next Sunday?
Where you say that, and the NFL, it just doesn't tend to work that way a lot of times. You're going to get everybody's best shot playing a team like Tennessee. You know what they're going to be. They're going to be tough, hard-nosed, physical, smart. Great respect for Coach Vrabel, the way he's built his program, the way they play. They certainly have our attention, our respect.
That's saying the right things, but also wanting to go out there and see if you can put them into thinking about their vacation plans.
We hear this both ways, right? And we do see some teams that fight, and it may mean something. Like for a number of these guys, it could be Derrick Henry's last game, Ryan Tannehill's last game in Tennessee uniforms, rivalry. Remember what happened last year? Some of that does matter, but if you get up 10-0 pretty quick, 14-0, it's the middle of the second quarter, and you're dominating the line of scrimmage, I do think minds start to wander. And we've heard it from plenty of former players, Brian, that say that there are plenty of guys that do that. All they're trying to do is get through the final week healthy.
And look, there are enough guys who were here in 2021 when the Jaguars upended the Colts and ended their playoff run to know what's possible. So I expect this team to be focused and go into it. Hold the Derrick Henry thought for a minute. Andre Sisco had a great answer on that. First, though, let's hear from Christian Kirk, who worked tirelessly the last 4 weeks. It was always a 4 to 6 week injury, but he was going to make sure that he had the opportunity to get back before the playoffs and help his team. And I asked him, what was it that drove you through that process to work so hard?
I just wanted to get back for the team in general, to just help win games, because I know when we're all out there and we're at our best, we're tough to beat. And so it was tough, being sidelined and having to watch, the tough times. But, the guys were able to weather the storm, and I'm really proud of their fight and just taking it week by week, and hopefully we can approach this Sunday and get another win.
Huge to have him back. He was out on the field today. Really is a confidence factor for Trevor Lawrence. You know where this guy is going to be. You look at it last week, C.J. Beathard threw one ball more than 10 yards downfield, but didn't have his full complement of players. I think even if C.J. were the quarterback, you're going to see a more open offense today because it looks like Zay is certainly going to play, and Christian Kirk is trending in that direction. I don't think they activate him yesterday unless they think they're going to use him.
No, I'm right with you. And watching him on the practice field this week, he looked comfortable as they put him through all the drills. Now, we don't see team exercises, but all the drills, he looked like the old Christian Kirk. And what stands out in that soundbite more than anything, to me, is his tempo. He's so even-keeled. He's a veteran. He's a professional. Nothing pushes him too high or too low. Jaguars need that, especially in a big game.
Oh, yeah. Then they need a guy who's going to be calm under pressure and come through and deliver, and he generally does.
All right, final soundbite for us here in hour number 1, courtesy of Andre Sisco. You mentioned Derrick Henry, likely his final game. He's a free agent after this season. He can break the franchise record for most 100-yard games if he has one today. They're going to show the highlight of the 99-yard touchdown run over and over and over and over. So I asked Andre Sisco, expecting a big performance from number 22. Are you ready for that?
I like that because I'm motivated myself. The defense is motivated. So, that's what you want. You don't want a lousy game and a lousy effort. I'm glad to know that he's going to be motivated and we better play ball.
You better be motivated when big number 22 has the ball.
Well, yeah, but, last time out, big number 22 ran for a big 3.8 yards carry.
Right.
He didn't get much done. Jags really, that's what they did. They got up early. They took their ability to stay with Derrick Henry out of that game.
You know the numbers on this? 17 or fewer carries for him on the year. He's averaged 37 yards per game. 18 or more, he's averaged 114. So it's pretty simple. Get that lead today, make them have to throw the football, and take Derrick away.
And I think that's part of a product, too. When he's rolling, you are more likely to continue to feed him the ball. If you can hold him down to 3-something yards a carry, it's less likely that they feel like that's a good path to come back in the second half if they are down.
All right, with everything on the line today, we expect E to the T brings it all. Here's this week's edition of Come On Somebody.
Now that that's out the way, welcome to the regular season finale edition of Come On Somebody, where I, E to the T, your boy, allow you, the wonderful people all across the world, my people, to express yourselves on all things Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know if you can hear it in my chest right now, but it's pressure, because we find ourselves here again. The AFC South Division title is on the line, but it's one thing that stands in our way. Them gosh doggone Titans. Who run the South? Oh, we gonna see. Come on, somebody.
My key to victory is one simple fact, and I believe you'll agree with it.
Well, let's hear it then, big fella.
We need to be nasty.
You're talking dirty to me, and I kind of like it.
Whoa, ease up, Hack. I kind of like it, too.
We need to be rough.
Oh.
We need to be Duval. What we always were. We need to pound it on the ground.
Okay.
And just beat the living heck out of the other team, being the Titans, which I hate. But if we do that, we win all day.
I ain't gonna lie, my boy. You spoke a lot of actual factuals.
We just need to get back to Duval nasty.
Come on, somebody.
The last come on somebody of this regular season.
Operative words, regular season.
ET, it's been a good one. Damn, it's been a good one.
Oh, it's been a doozy, my boy.
But now it's time to get to business.
We standing on business, fam?
This is the time, Duval. This is the time for everybody to say, come on, somebody.
Come on, somebody.
I will call y'all back next week when it is the playoff. Come on, somebody. The playoff. Come on, somebody. I had to say it twice because we will be the playoff team to beat when we win the AFC South.
Talk to you next week, big homie. Come on, somebody.
It's time, Duval.
Is that the big fella?
It's all on the line.
It sure is. Talk to him, Leon.
So what? Now what? We ain't done nothing yet.
Tell him how you really feel.
This division can't be ours, but one team stands in our way. I hate the Titans.
That makes the whole city of us.
We show the world who we are.
And who are we again? Come on, somebody.
Once again, it comes down to the Titans.
It really does. And, despite the fact that the Jags got over on them last year, knocked them out, won the division, all that, to me, until you use them as a stepping stone to get to the Super Bowl, it doesn't completely erase 99. I think there's a lot more of that Titans hatred and angst on this side of the rivalry than there is on the other, but it was a good step in the right direction last year, and doing it twice in a row would be quite nice.
Jaguars have never beaten the Titans 4 times in a row. The Oilers, yes. They beat them 4 times in a row through 96, 97, and early 98. But have never, since the Titans became the Titans in 99, beaten them 4 times in a row today. They can do it, sweep them in back-to-back seasons, and claim back-to-back division titles for the first time in 24 years. We'll find out if they can get it done coming up at 1 o'clock from Nissan Stadium in Nashville. But before then, we've got much more ahead, including...
But we have an opportunity to control the narrative and finish writing the story. And so when you hold that pen, it's powerful.
Zay, the Zen philosopher in the Jaguars locker room, joins me to talk about today's game. That's this week's Baptist player interview. Plus, CBS Sports senior writer Pete Prisco, all ahead on Jaguars Radio.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguar sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguar sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Tackle your marketing needs with Kessler Creative. Providing direct mail services for more than a decade, Kessler has a wide range of services from small mailers to large banners and signs. Draft Kessler as your first pick to receive the best targeted mail list. Elevate your business and be on the winning team with Kessler Creative. Kessler Creative, results-driven marketing and proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
JEA is proud to be Northeast Florida's community-owned utility. So what does that mean? It means we serve our local customers, not investors. That we're always focused on keeping our costs as low as possible while exploring new ways to deliver clean, affordable energy and water. And that we invest in our people and infrastructure to deliver reliable, sustainable services. Because for 127 years, JEA has been here to serve you, and only you. JEA, your community, your utility.
Touchdown at Jaguars away games when you fly nonstop from Jacksonville International Airport. Join the Jaguars in New Orleans and Pittsburgh. Watch them win in Houston and Nashville. All the other Jaguars games are just one short connection away. And if airport parking has you stressed, be sure to visit the Jax Airport website before traveling to the terminal. On it, you'll find information about the status of on-airport parking in real time. See if your favorite areas are available or if you need to call an audible. Visit flyjax.com for more information.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Paid for by FDOT.
Football and Miller Lite. Duval's greatest pairing. Can cracks and kickoff. Tailgates going well past postgame. Sunday night overtime.
For the touchdown.
Followed by Monday morning pride. Knocking on bar tops for luck. Kicking back on any given Sunday. You never forget the way some things taste. Jags football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
And welcome back. Hour number one of the Publix Tailgate Show from the Hyundai Studios at EverBank Stadium. Brian and Mike with you, about an hour and 10 minutes away from finding out whether Trevor Lawrence will be the starting quarterback today, whether Christian Kirk will be active, or Zay Jones as well. How many of the Jaguars starters will be on the field? Again, 11:30, JP Shadrick and Mike will have that for you. Until then, we continue here, and it's time for Pete Prisco, a guy who had high expectations for this football team. Probably, Mike, didn't expect that they would be playing for the division title in Nashville on the final Sunday of the season.
No, honestly, I don't know how many people did, really. I think we thought the Jags might have the AFC South wrapped up by now, but that's not the way it went, obviously. They had a 4-game losing streak, and they got it snapped last week, and I started out asking Pete if that was enough to kind of wipe away that bad feeling. Did they do enough to hit the reset button on the season last week?
Yeah, and look, they had to have that. I mean, there's no question. I think that's the type of game that actually gets them focused again. And you saw a lot of the little things that they weren't doing, Mike, that they did in that game. You know, they made plays on defense. They were in the right spot. The offensive line was better. They ran the ball better. I mean, little things that they had gotten away from that actually showed up in that game. And I think that's important. So I think going forward, that was a big win. It wasn't against a good team, but it was still an important win.
Right. Every game is different, Pete, and they're going to play a higher level of competition if they make it into the postseason. But just in general, do you think, regardless of who's playing quarterback at any given time, they saw the value of protecting the football? Do you think we'll see more conservative game plans as a general rule, or will that vary from opponent to opponent?
Well, I think it varies from opponent to opponent. And look, you do have to run the ball, but you have to get chunk plays in the passing game. And I think that's, in the postseason going forward, it's so important to get those chunk plays. So you have to have a fine line between going for it, playing aggressively, and still being able to run the football. You have to throw to score, you have to run to win. And I don't think they've been able to run at all. And they've made too many mistakes trying to throw the football.
Pete, obviously, I would assume Tennessee's going to be fired up today to try to ruin the Jaguars' season. How much of a motivation do you think that is, and how long does that last? Like, if Tennessee gets down 7, is his team scrapping and fighting? Is that enough of an incentive to, have that kind of effort for a full 60 minutes today?
Well, they don't like each other, so that's never a good situation for a team that's trying to get the win against a team that's, playing for nothing. And so that usually amps up the level of play. But again, you hit them in the mouth early, and they look up and it's 14-0. They start looking at their reservations for Cabo and Bermuda and points of very nice locales. So I don't think it holds up throughout the game, particularly if you jump out on top of them.
Talking here with Pete Prisco as we get ready for Jags and Titans regular season finale. Pete, the Pro Bowl nods came out this week. Josh Allen, Ross Matisic from the Jaguars named in the initial wave. They might still get a few others in, as guys start to decline invites and injuries and teams that make deep playoff runs factor in here. But what did you make of so far the season Allen has had, obviously with 16.5 sacks, and the fact that a guy at an obscure position like Ross Matisic, a long snapper, can get recognized in a small market?
Yeah, that tells you he's pretty good at what he does. But there are guys that I thought Evan Ingram should have been on the list. And, look, it's hard when you see the other two tight ends, but he's put up big numbers, obviously, over 100 catches. I mean, he should have been on the list. You could make a case for Darius Williams being one of the Pro Bowl corners, has had a really good season. But it all goes back to the history of this organization, Mike. There's been plenty of guys who have been worthy of getting nominated and getting, going to the Pro Bowl and who haven't because the fans don't vote for him, and a lot of the people that look at this team look at it from a small lens standpoint. They don't understand where they are. So it's the small market mentality that hurts them again.
All right, Pete, let's look at what today's game means for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously, you win it. You're the AFC South champions. And even at 10 wins, that's probably less than some people projected. But if they win today, do you say that this regular season has been a success, or do you feel like they let some opportunities slip away?
No, it's not been what I thought it was. So I can't sit here and say it was a success because I thought they'd be dynamic on offense and score a ton of points and end up with the number 1 seed in the AFC. So from my standpoint, it's not a success. Can you make it a success? Absolutely, Mike. If you get in and make a run in the postseason, then that's all that matters. So it can still be a success, but right now on the surface, I would say no.
Who wins today?
I think Jacksonville wins. I think they win and get in. And once they get in, they're getting guys back. I think that's important for them in the postseason, but I do think they find a way to win the game. It won't be easy. We know the Tennessee Titans and the Nashville reputation isn't very good, but I do think they find a way to win the game.
You know, Brian, I picked the Jags to win 12 games this year. I think a lot of people picked them in that range.
Yeah.
11, 12, 13, whatever the case was.
Improvement from last year.
Absolutely, right? And maybe to have this thing put away by now. But we ran a poll this week on my show that if they do win today and they win the AFC South, is the regular season a success, not knowing what you're going to see in the postseason? 3 out of 4 said absolutely.
Well, here's why I would say that it is. Because in back-to-back years, you've won the AFC South for the first time since 98 and 99. You will have posted, by the way, if they win today, the best AFC South record the Jaguars have ever posted, 5-1, right? Only 3 times in the 23 years of the AFC South, 21 years, have they posted even 4 wins. So, and Doug will have won 9 and 10 games. And after all the years and futility that this franchise has endured, I don't know how you don't say that's a success. Is it what they wanted it to be? Kind of playing on what Pete said?
Right.
No. Is it what it could have been? No.
Little short of the potential, but if you can get a home playoff game and you know, you take your chances and you're back-to-back division champs, you start to establish a pattern that we are the team that you're going to have to deal with in the AFC South, that you didn't just pop up for one season and you let a rookie quarterback come in and steal the division from you.
Well, there's something to be said for grinding your way through, and despite all the injuries and 4 consecutive losses and putting yourself in the position you're in today, finding a way to win, right? That which does not kill me maybe makes me stronger.
Find out.
We'll see.
Got to win.
All right. Now, time to go to the Zen side of things with Zay Jones, and I climbed that mountain this week to find one of the most interesting men in teal. Hey, look, he hasn't been on the field much this year. He's missed 8 of the 16 games this team has played, and he had the off-the-field incident that kept him quiet and contemplative, but he knows what's at stake today. He understands his role in it, and he says that he's looking forward to this team with its back against the wall coming out and playing the way that he knows they can.
I don't think there's any sugarcoating it on what it means. We know the implications that are at stake, and we know what's at stake.
That back against the wall mentality, the coach said earlier this week he thought you guys thrived in that. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think to some degree I would. I think he has a more bird's eye view of the team rather than the small things that I'm able to see. So I think when it comes to terms of the guys that I'm working with day to day, I feel that, yeah.
His passing game has had moments this year, but you guys haven't all been on the field at the same time, and the quarterback. And how would it feel for this offense to end the season maybe where you thought you guys would be? And is that possible considering how much time guys have missed?
You know, it hasn't been the picture-perfect tale of what we wanted it to have been. Especially, you know, on my end, I can only speak for myself, but we have an opportunity to control the narrative and finish writing the story. And so when you hold that pen, it's powerful. And, you know, it's about going out and controlling what we can at this point and producing. And no matter how we get it done, whether it's through the air or on the ground, it's about winning, and it's an exciting feeling to be in this position.
And can you put into perspective, because you just smiled right there, once you get in the tournament, anything's possible. It doesn't matter how hot you are going in. You'd like to be, but it matters what you do once you're there, right?
Yeah, it's a clean slate. It's a clean slate for everyone. We're not quite there yet. We still have a task that's ahead of us, a division opponent. They're going to bring it. So you can feel the energy of what's at stake, and I'm glad to be going to battle with the guys I'm going to battle with.
You know, when you get to this point of the year, everybody's banged up, everybody's fighting through something. Can you push through that stuff when you have a game like this?
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely possible. It takes a lot of will, and it takes each other. And I think we know we believe in each other, so we're willing each other along, and that's what makes you a professional as well too.
And you mentioned that it hasn't been picture perfect per se, but it isn't really where you start; it's where you finish, right? So, can you turn it on with a strong performance and get hot? Can one game get you hot, or is that too much to ask?
I think that's only something that's seen in retrospect. I don't want to dwell on the past too much last year, but we can allude to some of the moments that we had in last year where we can say, like, okay, maybe that was the turning point, but feeling that shift I don't know. Sometimes you feel it, sometimes you don't. But I know that being in the win column can help give you momentum. It doesn't guarantee you the next one, but it can give you a little bit of momentum. And we're going to have a tough opponent ahead, and it's about doing it now or never.
You've been a part of some big rivalries with the Bills, with the Patriots and the Dolphins, and with the Raiders, with Kansas City and the Broncos. Where does this one fit?
Great. That's a good question.
In terms of the dislike or the intensity or...
Sure. I think I don't want to say anything that's going to get me in trouble, but
I don't want you to.
Yeah, I want to be respectful of their organization. But I know for the Jags, defending a title like this and wanting another one and wanting to be dominant for a long time to come is going to present its own challenges with, the type of teams that we have to play. So I have a healthy respect for, Tennessee organization. I even remember growing up admiring Eddie George, one of their great legends, and God rest his soul, Steve McNair. So I have a lot of awareness because my dad was playing in that era about, what this organization holds. And so to be a part of this one and creating what I would like to consider the new era or new dynasty of the Jags, I'm excited for the battles to come, not only on Sunday, but in the years to come as well.
It's a legacy game, right? I mean, and every player wants to leave a legacy.
For sure, yeah. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, yeah.
Happy New Year, Zay.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Zay is acutely aware of where this franchise was when he signed on as a free agent and where it could be later this afternoon, winning back-to-back division titles.
Oh, sure. And look, there's so many things that came out of that. We talk about, is the regular season a success? The overall season will be determined by what they do beginning next week, if they make it to next week, and how far they advance. And I don't expect a player like Zay, who's only been here for a couple of years, to feel the same intensity about this rivalry, particularly where Tennessee is this year. I think if you really put them on a lie detector test, they'd recognize that Houston, with the young quarterback, is the team that they're going to have to contend with more head-to-head in the years to come.
And we'll see much more ahead here on the first hour of the Publix Tailgate Show from the Hyundai Studios at EverBank Stadium, including...
Anytime that you're in control of your own destiny, it's about as good as you can have. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy.
That's Bob Sutton, the senior defensive assistant, a man with more than 50 years of experience coaching football, and he joins me to talk about what's at stake today. The Jaguars and Titans coming up soon. This is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguars sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguars sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
What makes that famous call?
Dinner's ready!
Even better? It's cooking a great meal with natural gas, enjoying faster cooking times and precise temperature control. And now getting a valuable cash rebate up to $300 when you install an energy-efficient natural gas range or cooktop.
Anyone want seconds?
When you show your home love with natural gas, it loves you right back. To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, EverBank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
The creamiest, dreamiest soft ice cream you get from Mr. Softy. For a refreshing delight supreme, look for Mr. Softy. The milkshakes and the sundaes and the cones are such a treat. Look out for the ice cream stand, enjoy it from your seat. The creamiest, dreamiest soft ice cream you get from Mr. Softy. For a refreshing delight supreme, look for Mr. Softy. S-O-F-T-E-E, Mr. Softy.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields.
If you're in the market for a full-size 8-passenger SUV, look no further than the Defender 130. And with the Defender 90, the 110, and this 130, there's luxury in the right size for everyone. Right, Sammy?
Plus, when you buy or lease from Land Rover Jacksonville, you'll become a member of the Fields Amenities program with complimentary loaners, car washes, our cafe, and much more, all at no charge.
You say there's nothing quite like the feel of the open road when you ride a motorcycle. You know it takes concentration, knowledge, and skills beyond those required to drive a car. Ride Smart Florida would like to take this opportunity to remind you to enjoy the road, but to always ride smart. S-M-A-R-T. Say no to drinking and riding. Make yourself more visible to motorists. Always wear your helmet. Ride in control. Train regularly and get endorsed. Visit RideSmartFlorida.com for more details. Do you ride smart? This message is provided by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Welcome back. Publix Tailgate Show rolls along here. Hour number 1. Hour 2 and 3 will be anchored from this desk by JP Shadrick. So get ready for that. The Jaguars and Titans Week 18 season finale. Everything on the line. Coming up just after 1 o'clock Eastern from Nissan Stadium in Nashville. And it's time now for our weekly commentary from Rick Ballou.
Win and you're in. It's as simple as that today for the Jaguars, and frankly, that's the way football should be, right? Win a football game and you advance. How about win a football game and you host in the playoffs next weekend? That is there ahead of them as well. So they know what's up. They know what they have to do, and they'll be taking on a team that's beaten up in Tennessee, both physically and emotionally. I do know this, though. They'll play hard, and it begins with Derrick Henry. This is it. For the most part, the thinking, final game ever in Nashville. Soon to be a Hall of Famer. He believes he's got a few years left. You know he's going to give it his all. Ryan Tannehill resurrected his career after failing out in Miami, came over to Tennessee, did some nice things. The future's all about Will Levis, who won't play today, so an opportunity for Tannehill to go out the way that he wants. Then it's the Mike Vrabel situation. Is he at odds with general manager Rand Carthon? Back and forth, trying to figure everything out. How about drop a big number on Tennessee today and maybe you get him kicked out of the division? He's a great coach. They're talking about maybe trading him. Maybe he sticks around. I don't know. But I'll tell you this. You get Mike Vrabel out of the AFC South beginning in 2024. That's good news for the rest of the teams, including the Jaguars. Today does remind me a little bit of a couple of years ago. Back at the bank, all Indianapolis had to do was go in there and win. Jacksonville stoned them on that afternoon. I think some out there think that could be the case here in Nashville. All the rage is Trevor. Once again, the injury. As I tape here, we do not know for sure if he is going to be able to give it a go. All right, for the record, I think he does play. However, the Jaguars outside of that really getting healthy. This week's injury report, no defensive players on it. That's nuts. Cisco, Campbell, Big Foley, Devon Hamilton, week after week, it's been littered with defensive players. Not this week, and again, not today. You could actually get back Zay and Kirk as well. Again, as I tape here, we don't officially know if that is the case with Christian Kirk. The game played in November, back in the latter part of November. I believe it was November 19th. Jacksonville was incredible with their defense. They actually held Tennessee to just 38 total plays. It's the fewest amount of plays in any regular season game this year in 2023. Also, you look at what their defense has done as of late, including last week against Carolina, and then you consider the fact that Tennessee's offensive line has allowed 19 sacks in the last 3 games. Final thought, I hope it's cold today. I do. I hope it's bitterly cold in Nashville. Why? Well, you get a home playoff game next week, and then we'll shuffle the deck, right? Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City. That's probably where you're going to go to one of those 3 teams and one of those 3 settings during the divisional round of the playoffs in 2 weeks. Obviously, those 3 sites are going to be cold. Finally, the Jaguars 6-2 this year on the road. They have lost the last 2 away from the bank. Not today. The good guys get back on the winning ways.
Thanks, Rick. Well, Bob Sutton's seen a lot of football. The veteran coach has been more than 50 years on the sidelines in both college and pro, and he knows the in and outs and ups and downs of a season, and he put his finger immediately on what happened well last week and what has to happen today for things to go their way.
I think it was the whole team we played what I would call a really clean game. You know, we had no destructive plays, offense or defense. You know, we had just one penalty, I think, in the game. Offense did a great job of taking care of the ball, and we had no big gainers. You know, we had no plus 20 plays, so I think that did it. And then, you know, the ability to certainly pressure the quarterback like we did was, you know, big, and you know, it translated into 1 of 13 on third downs, and you know, that's when you can play like that, you're going to give everybody a good chance. But I really think if you step back from the whole thing, it was a great team win.
Well, and that's what I liked the most was you're playing with your backup quarterback, and the best thing the defense could do was make it easy on him. Seems like they rose to that challenge.
Yeah, I think they did. I think we played, you know, a good football game. And like I said, I thought both sides played the way you really need to play to win anyways. You know, the cleaner the game is, the better your opportunity is going to be successful.
We talk a lot about turnovers coming in bunches. Do sacks come in bunches too? You had 6 last week, and you get an offensive line this week that struggled the last few weeks. Does it seem like there's a good opportunity?
Well, I think, you know, sacks are the most visible measuring stick, you know, but you really want to do is pressure the quarterback. That's, you know, we use the word affect the quarterback, and that's everybody. You know, there's a lot of things that go into sacks. It's tight coverage, it's disguise, and then it's the ability just to keep pressuring up inside, whether you're getting a sack or not, just to stay, you know, to have that attack mentality. You know, relentlessness, I think, is a key word when you're talking about pass rush.
When you look at the tape, what do you see from Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen working in tandem? They lead the league with the most combined sacks by 2 players at 25.5. How do they work well together?
Well, I think exactly that. They both are guys that do play with a relentless attitude, and you know, you play relentless within the play, because a lot of times the quarterback gets forced off his spot and he returns to you, and you might have been outside, but if you stop working, you know, that sack goes away. And so I think that's one part of it, and I think both of them have improved over the course of the season. You know, that's tribute to Coach Shuey and the two guys.
Bob, you've seen a lot of football. This is win and get in. What do you look for this week from your football team as they get ready for Sunday in Nashville?
Well, I think it's, you know, anytime that you're in control of your own destiny, it's about as good as you can have. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It means that you just have, you know what you have to do to be successful, to get the win, and what the win equals, you know, in the big picture of a thing. So I think, you know, we got to be ready to play a great game. We know Tennessee, not so much just the X and O, but we know how they're going to play and the type of physicalness they're going to bring to the game. And our players aren't going to be surprised by that. They know they're going to have to play all 60 minutes.
Well, let's end on that, because it's probably Derrick Henry's final game as a Tennessee Titan, and you know they're going to want to send him out with a big performance. So you really have to strap it on against that guy in this final game.
Oh, well, Derrick Henry, and I don't know about any of those things, but I just know that he's always been one of the elite competitors in our league. You know, the number of times he carries the ball and over his career has been incredible, you know, and his ability to get yards after contact is well noted. And so I think every player in the National Football League knows that, hey, when you're playing 22, you better be bringing everybody to the ball, because it's going to take all 11 to stop him.
Happy New Year. Hopefully end the season on a high note and get into the playoffs.
Great. Thank you very much.
Just a quick thought on the pass rush. And we heard Rick mention 19 sacks that Titans offensive line has allowed the last 3 games. We know last week they allowed 6 to the Houston Texans, and the Jaguars got 6 against the Carolina Panthers. The Jaguars against Will Levis here in week 11 didn't get but 2 sacks, and Josh Allen only had a half a sack. So it's not a given that the Jaguars are going to get Ryan Tannehill down today. He's probably going to be getting rid of the ball quickly.
No, it's not a given, but it may be a necessity, right? I mean, you go back to week 3 when Houston was coming off back-to-back weeks where they had, I think, allowed 11 sacks in their first 2 games, and the Jags really didn't have much of a pass rush against C.J. Stroud. It's got to be different today, Brian. I mean, they're hot coming in that off that performance last week. Josh Allen could lead the league in sacks with another repeat performance. It would take something like that to do it.
Yeah.
But he and Trayvon Walker, I expect to get a couple today at least.
We'll see if they get that done today in Nashville. All right. When we come back, we go to the broadcast booth. Jeff Lageman, Tony Baselli, and First Rounds on Us here on Jaguars Radio.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguar sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguar sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading organizations across the country to deliver workforce solutions. As a proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI crafts personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has over 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your workforce solutions reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every single play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. You've worked hard for your money. So if you're ready to up your financial game, it's time to choose EverBank. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Earn your advantage at everbank.com/Jaguars.
Everyone wins when 2 great traditions team up. Yucatan Guacamole is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Our authentic guacamole recipe starts with hand-scooped avocados and ends up in your hands fresh and ready to enjoy. Grab some on game day at the Yucatan Cantina or Yucatan nacho carts around the stadium or at local retail stores. Sack your snack game with Yucatan Guacamole.
Unlock your potential at the University of North Florida. A top public university with more than 100 majors, UNF is number 1 among state schools with the highest percentage of graduates employed in Florida. Affordable tuition, programs in high-demand fields, and faculty who care. Swoop into your future at UNF. Visit unf.edu to learn more. As the official ticket marketplace of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the NFL, Ticketmaster has a wide selection of tickets available for every game. Whether you're cheering on the Jaguars at home or away, Ticketmaster has you covered. With Ticketmaster's interactive seat map, you'll get a 360-degree preview of your seat so you can make sure you've got the best view of those pivotal plays. Plus, the Ticketmaster app makes it easy to sell or transfer tickets if your plans change. And mobile tickets make getting in on game day a breeze. Find tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Jaguars. That's Ticketmaster.com/Jaguars.
Welcome back. Final segment of hour number 1 here at Publix Tailgate Show, Hyundai Studios, EverBank Stadium. Brian and Mike with you, JP Shadrick on deck. Time now for the First Rounds on Us. And we welcome in Jeff Lageman, and we believe Tony Baselli.
Come on, Brian.
Well,
of course I'm here.
Listen, I just didn't want to take it for granted. I know how you hobnob and do your last bit of research right before you get to this segment. So I just wanted to make sure. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year. First of all, I'm starting to get offended because I don't think I've missed one of these segments.
There was one segment not long ago where I got word right before we started. Baselli's not here yet.
The Baselli Foundation event, I believe.
But that was planned. That was a planned event.
Tony, it's nice to hear your voice, and I'm glad that you're here for this conversation, which I'm going to turn over to Mike Dempsey in a minute. But first, time for our UF Health delivering compassionate care and world-class outcomes. That's our game plan. How do you get this team ready for a must-win game today? Win and you're in. I say that because over the course of the season, there have been some of these big games on the schedule, and the Jaguars have not come out and played their best football early. So what do you say? What do you do to get this team off to a fast start?
You shouldn't have to do anything to get this team motivated. Brian, the playoffs start today. I mean, really. I mean, the playoffs start today for this football team. You win and you advance. And that's the fact. And if you win, you also win the AFC South for the second consecutive year. So you're making history in the process. And you're playing a football team that's not playing good ball, plain and simple. You should be ready to play and excited to play.
Yeah, I mean, I would echo what Jeff said. There's no excuses. I mean, it's playoff atmosphere from a standpoint on the sidelines. It might not be in the stadium today, but like in the locker room, your attitude, what's in front of you. I mean, you have a chance to do something that's only been done once in the history of this organization, win back-to-back division titles, host another playoff game, and then once you're in the tournament, who knows what can happen.
That's right.
So there's zero excuse or reason you should not be just fired up, ready to go. And, oh, by the way, this is a bad Titans football team.
Yeah, they're not very good right now. But, the one thing that's disappointing, Brian and Mike, and I don't know if you guys know this yet or not, the natural grass is gone. They've got turf now here in Tennessee.
I've tried to tell Jeff it's been like this all year.
I know, but it's terrible. It's the first time we've been here this year.
I know, but if you watch
first
football.
time I've noticed.
Well, if you watch football.
I just thought the grass looked good on film.
Whatever.
I can't believe it. I mean, look, how in the world can you have artificial turf in Tennessee? Is this Alaska?
Well, it feels like it right now.
It's terrible.
But back to your question, Brian, about being ready. The one thing, and I was thinking about this last night, go all the way back to 1996. We had a similar situation. It was at home, though, where all we had to do is win, and we were in the playoffs, and we were playing against a 3 or 4 win Atlanta Falcon team who was terrible. And it got tight. We
got tight.
I'm saying the game was tight, which made us tight as it got into the second half, and we couldn't pull away. And next thing you know, if it's not for a missed 33-yard field goal from a Hall of Fame kicker, we never make the run in 96. So I say that is what I worry about in this game is if this team does not get out to a fast start and does not come out of the gate strong and this thing gets is tight going into the second half, do they tighten up? And start not playing free and start playing the way we know they're capable.
Well, because if you're a member of the Tennessee Titans football team, here's a couple things that your mind is thinking about. Okay, when the game starts, okay, let's hope we play well and we're going to give it our all. And if things don't go well, then you start thinking, you know what, I need to start protecting myself because I don't want to get an injury and then have to end up getting treatment and maybe another surgery.
And I got to just strip to Cabo.
I got plans to Cabo.
And I can't
next
do that
week.
if I'm in the training room.
But if all of a sudden the game's close, then the competitor comes out guys, and they're like, hey, let's finish this thing, man. Let's go. We're rolling and an opportunity to finish the year on a win, and we're excited about that. So Tony's right. A fast start, or I should say this, a good first half, I think would go a long ways towards winning this football game.
All right, guys, we'll find out in about 35 minutes officially whether or not Trevor Lawrence will be playing today, but let's presume that he is. What is the offensive game plan? What's the approach?
I think it's very similar to what you did last week. I don't care who the quarterback is. I think it is run the ball, stick with the run, play action pass, take what the defense gives you. Because my calculation, my math, Mike, is if you don't turn the ball over and don't have a bunch of missed assignments on both sides of the ball, you're going to win by double digits because you're the better team. And it's just a Titans team that struggles to score points. They're pretty good defensively, but they have one of the worst offensive lines we've seen all year. A lot of struggles there. You have an aging Derrick Henry who is not the Derrick Henry who scared this organization for so many years. And you have Ryan Tannehill, who's thrown 2 total touchdown passes this entire year. So just play clean, and I think you're fine.
Yeah, play clean, mistake-free, communicate. I mean, all those things that this team wasn't doing in the 4-game losing streak, but they found a way to do it again last week against Carolina. And I think the quality of the opponent, just like Tony was saying there, is very similar to the Carolina Panthers. But I'm going to emphasize what Tony just brought up. This Tennessee Titans offensive line, they are not good. I mean, seriously, they are not good. They've got a problem, a major problem at left tackle, who, oh, by the way, Josh Allen's our best pass rusher who rushes over that position. Their left guard, their first-round pick, is not playing well either. On the right side are essentially journeymen. There's a great opportunity for this defensive front today if you can populate the front porch of Derrick Henry, so to speak, and stop him. It's going to be tough for Tannehill to have the time to survey the field. But the one thing you do got to watch about with him is he's a pretty mobile quarterback.
Yeah, right. Don't want to see those 3rd and 5s get converted with his feet. If you had the choice today, would you rather be facing Ryan Tannehill or Will Levis?
I mean, easy answer for me. I'd rather face Will Levis, the rookie. I think there's a lot of limitations with him. And Tannehill's got that X factor of the mobility. I would rather face the rook.
Yeah, I probably lean towards Jeff, but I probably think more highly of Will Levis. I mean, we've seen him.
I'd rather see Malik Willis, to be honest with you.
But Will Levis is a
Make
guy.
that happen.
Also, let's not forget, it wasn't that many weeks ago they went down to Miami and beat a Miami team with Will Levis in a great defensive effort with no Jeffrey Simmons in that game as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think what you get with Will Levis is the deep ball, the big play capability, because he's not afraid to take chances. But you also get an opportunity to get your hands on the ball quite a bit.
Yeah, here's the thing. It all starts with Derrick Henry.
That's right.
If you stop Derrick Henry, it puts too much pressure on an offensive line and a passing game that hasn't been up to snuff this year.
All right, fellas. Have a great broadcast, and hopefully we're talking about the Cleveland Browns sometime next weekend.
Hey, knock on wood, man. Let's hope this Jaguars football team takes care of business.
Guys, I'm not hoping we talk about them next week. I'm hoping we're talking about them in the fourth quarter, because this game is so clearly in hand that we're talking about the playoff game at home.
You got my vote.
Yep.
All right, fellas. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Mike. Thanks so much.
Yeah, man.
Hopefully we're sitting
See
here
you
again next week.
Right?
Yeah,
I'm free.
Yeah, me too. Kind of think we will be. That'll do it, folks. JP Shadrick is on deck. Hour number 2 and 3 coming up as we get you ready for the Jaguars and Titans, the season finale, the playoffs, and the AFC South division title on the line. Thanks so much. Hour number 2 starts right after this on Jaguars Radio.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguars sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguars sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Is your phone plan messing with your savings plan? Don't get stuck paying for things you don't want. With Verizon, you only pay for what you need. And for a limited time, when you bring your own phones to a Verizon store, you'll get an amazing price on your plan. Plus, you'll save on things you actually love, like the Netflix and Max with Ads bundle. And it's on our award-winning 5G network. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today for an incredible deal. A better plan to save is Verizon. Additional terms and conditions apply.
The creamiest, dreamiest, soft ice cream you get from Mr. Softy. For a refreshing delight supreme, look for Mr. Softy. The milkshakes and the sundaes and the cones are such a treat. Look out for the ice cream stand, enjoy it from your seat. The creamiest, dreamiest, soft ice cream you get from Mr. Softy. For a refreshing delight supreme, look for Mr. Softy. S-O-F-T-E-E, Mr. Softy.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields. If you're in the market for a full-size 8-passenger SUV, look no further than the Defender 130. And with the Defender 90, the 110, and this 130, there's luxury in the right size for everyone. Right, Sammy?
Plus, when you buy or lease from Land Rover Jacksonville, you'll become a member of the Fields Amenities program with complimentary loaners, car washes, our cafe, and much more, all at no charge.
JEA is proud to be Northeast Florida's community-owned utility. So what does that mean? It means we serve our local customers, not investors. That we're always focused on keeping our costs as low as possible while exploring new ways to deliver clean, affordable energy and water. And that we invest in our people and infrastructure to deliver reliable, sustainable services. Because for 127 years, JEA has been here to serve you, and only you. JEA, Your community, your utility.
You say there's nothing quite like the feel of the open road when you ride a motorcycle. You know it takes concentration, knowledge, and skills beyond those required to drive a car. Ride Smart Florida would like to take this opportunity to remind you to enjoy the road, but to always ride smart. S-M-A-R-T. Say no to drinking and riding. Make yourself more visible to motorists. Always wear your helmet. Ride in control. Train regularly and get endorsed. Visit RideSmartFlorida.com for more details. Do you ride smart? This message is provided by the Florida Department of Transportation.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues right now.
And it's hour 2 of the Publix Tailgate Show, 2 hours away from Week 18. The Jacksonville Jaguars 9-7, the Tennessee Titans 5-11, coming up at Nissan Stadium, Nashville. Kickoff at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. A win for the Jaguars, they would be division champions, and in the playoffs, hosting a playoff game in the wild card round next week against the Browns. A loss for the Jaguars, they would be out of the playoffs altogether. It's that simple, Mike, after the Steelers win yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's nothing that you need more to focus yourself than know if you lose, your season's over. So it's all on the line for the Jags. This would be one of the most horrifically disappointing ends to a season with losses in 5 of their last 6 if they don't get the job done today. I don't even want to think about that possibility with so much promise heading into the season, an 8-3 record, the chance to win on Monday Night Football and have the number 1 seed at least for that time being, and to now find yourself on the brink of not being in there. Just take care of business, get the win today. Don't worry about how many regular season games you let get away, and start fresh next week.
Well, a lot of questions today, obviously, on the injury report. Trevor Lawrence, is he going to be available? We're about 30 minutes away from inactive to see if he's up. Christian Kirk was on the practice field this week. Zay Jones, are those guys back? But the question, if they're back, can they flip the switch and turn this offense back on, so to speak?
Well, I mean, Trevor Lawrence has only missed 1 week. So, Christian Kirk would be a bigger discussion point as far as, what kind of readiness he'd be at. But look, I think it's a question of, can Trevor Lawrence's play within himself and realize you don't have to go out there and do the spectacular to beat this Tennessee team. What you can't do is you can't contribute to it. You can't turn it over in your own end. You can't give them short fields. You can't squander scoring opportunities. So if he's able to go out there and manage the game, make a few throws down the field. Again, C.J. Beathard only attempted one longer than 10 yards last week. They've got to be a little bit more aggressive than that, I think, today. But they do that. They win the line of scrimmage. They're going to win this football game.
Game day weather brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. And at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, it's currently 39 degrees and cloudy, a high of around 45 today. Should be about 43 degrees and cloudy at kickoff. Here are some of today's top stories, starting with Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback held out of last week's game, the first time he's missed a game in the NFL. He said it's different seeing it from the side and helping out the backup.
It's a weird experience kind of being on the outside, almost looking in. Obviously, you're still part of the team and you're still involved, but, I'm just trying to stay out of those guys' way on game day. I know what it's like to be in the zone, and especially CJ playing, and obviously, there's pressure on him, and he's really excited for the opportunity, and I just want to stay out of his way and just do anything he needs to help him play better, whatever that is, and I think most of that is just kind of letting him do his thing, because I know a lot of people were checking on him all week and making sure he was good, and I just wanted to let him have his space. So I was trying to kind of stay out of the way a little bit, but also it's cool to see how everything operates.
Yeah, well, the first time really seeing that off to the side since college when he missed a game with COVID back when they played Notre Dame, Clemson at Notre Dame. So, yeah, seeing it operate, all that stuff, maybe a different viewpoint from the side for the quarterback, and maybe he can take that to the field if he's up and available today.
Yeah, I'm not buying any of it. I mean, come on. I mean, Trevor Lawrence does not want to learn from watching on the sideline. Most of these quarterbacks will tell you you're not going to gain anything from not playing. You're going to gain it from experience. And I get it. You can maybe take a step back and realize that you don't have to make every splash play. But I think Trevor Lawrence is trying to just be the guy he is, which is find a positive and not just be like, come on, man, obviously I want to be out there. He's like, okay, it's pretty neat to see it from a different angle, which I would never choose to do given the opportunity ever again for the rest of my career.
Let's hear from the running back. That was the key last week. They wanted to run the football 30 times. That's what Doug Peterson told us, and they gave it 29 times to running backs, including Travis Etienne, who went over 100 yards last week, the division title on the line today, and it's just where he and this team wanted to be.
As a competitor, I mean, what else could you want? I know, I mean, when we signed up for this in January, we started coming here and just our OTAs and stuff like that. We wanted a shot at the playoffs, and I feel like we have a shot here, and that's by controlling our own fate. So we couldn't ask for any more, a better scenario. I know the journey how we got here wasn't as smooth as we wanted it to be, but we're here, and I feel like that's all that matters. And now we're going to lock in this week and get the job done.
That's Travis Etienne Jr. I think he's third in the league in touches this year overall. And, I mean, he's obviously a big piece of what they are doing on offense, but that's probably an idea of today as well against Tennessee. Run the football, hang on to the football, and don't make mistakes.
Right, and look, you take away the 62-yarder last week, and Jags didn't run all that effectively, quite frankly, right? But they stayed with it, and they were able to stay with it because the defense showed up, and really Carolina didn't threaten to put many points on the board. So as you were just tacking on 3 here, 3 there, occasional touchdown, and then Etienne has the big one, they were able to stay with it because of how well the defense played. If the defense shows up like they did last week, even if they have running into a few brick walls early, you don't have to pop the big one in every play. If they can be patient with it, they can get to 20-plus carries out of the running backs. That'll be a good sign that the defense is getting the job done today.
Well, it starts with the offensive line as well. Imagine this. Cam Robinson, the left tackle in the O-line, loves to run the football.
Yeah, I mean, any offensive lineman wants to run the ball. If they tell you they don't, they're lying. So it's always fun when you can, get those runs going. And we know late in the game, some of those 2-3 yard rushes started to turn into 6 yard rushes, 7-8 rushes, 7 and 8 yard rushes. So I think it's just big for us to just stay consistent and just keep grinding and keep wearing on them and turn those short runs into long runs.
That's one piece of the offense, of course. Quite another is tight end Evan Ingram, over 100 catches for the season, 104 on the campaign now, and only the second Jaguars player ever to record 100 or more catches in a season. Jimmy Smith did it twice. He needs 6 catches to become the 4th tight end in league history to go over 110 receptions in a season. So what do some of these historical marks mean to Evan Ingram?
It means a lot. I'm in this game to win. I definitely want to win championships and contribute to that. I also leave a legacy. The numbers and the stats and the accolades, that's part of it. And obviously, I'm very, very excited to, leave my mark on the game. Definitely as long as winning is along with it too. So, we've been doing that here. Obviously, you have our adversities, but just being a part of a winning culture, leaving a mark on the league and my team and history definitely means a lot.
Franchise record for receptions in a season is 116. Jimmy Smith did that. Zach Ertz has the NFL tight end record for a single season at 116. He would need 12 catches today to equal those marks, and that would be one better than his career high.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get that today. I mean, I hope they don't need to throw it that much today to Evan Ingram. Hopefully, at least Zay coming back, they'll have the ability to spread the ball around a little bit more. It was nice to see Evan Ingram recognized at least as a Pro Bowl alternate this week, and I know a lot of people thought he should have been selected. I think it's a fair debate between he and David Njoku, quite frankly, who produced about as much. He just didn't catch as many passes. So, look, in the end, Evan Ingram answers the bell every week. He's been the most consistently available and reliable pass catcher that the Jags have, and I think he's going to be a huge part of whatever success they have, not only this week, but for the rest of this season.
Well, on the defensive side, we hear from Andre Sisco, the Jags safety. And last season, the Jaguars made that run to bring it to the final day of the season to win the division. Today, it will be decided again in Week 18, and Andre Sisco knows that experience from last year helps.
A little bit more prepared. I think last year, some guys, I know for myself, it's my first time being in a scenario like that. So being this is the second time, you know how to handle it a little bit better. Going into the practice week, not to focus too much on next week, but just take it one day at a time, and then when Sunday comes, take care of business.
And what better team to do it against than the Tennessee Titans and Josh Allen at 16.5 sacks for the season, the franchise single-season record. He understands what's at stake against the hated rival.
I'm excited about this week. This is a rivalry week, so the attention to detail is going to be huge. This is a team that's, that they say that's not playing for nothing, but they're playing for a lot. 2 things. I came into this league, the first thing I said, we don't like Tennessee. And then I did a banquet. I went to a Tim Tebow gala. Eddie George was there. And, man, to tell you, he was talking so much crap to me. And I'm not even understanding. Like, I understand we didn't like them, they didn't like us, but to that extent, energy has to be up. The energy is going to be up. It's going to be a physical, tough game for both sides of the ball. We're excited about it. They're excited. So, the best talent and the more prepared team is going to win this game, and we've been preparing the right way.
All right, so that's Josh Allen on the Jaguars defense. Obviously, priority number one is still Derrick Henry in what could be his final game in Nashville.
Yeah, maybe, but if the Jags offense does what they did the first time they played, they made Derrick Henry not a relevant factor in that game. They were up 27-0 before Tennessee got on the board. So when you get out to a big lead like that, it's tough for them to stick with Derrick Henry, who's only averaging 3.8 yards a carry. So if you can get on him early, the offense for the Jags may be the biggest key to stopping Derrick Henry today.
Bootleggers, get ready. Luke Combs is bringing 2 nights of the Growing Up and Getting Old tour to EverBank Stadium May 3rd and 4th with different special guests each night. Tickets on sale now at everbankstadium.com. Let's head to Nissan Stadium, Nashville, Tennessee, and Kai Stevens standing by in the broadcast booth on a cool, crisp day on the banks of the Cumberland River and the division title on the line. Kai, this is maybe not the blueprint we expected to get to this point this year at 8-3 earlier, but they're here nevertheless, and a chance to get it all done today.
They have that chance. Good morning, gentlemen. It's football weather here for sure. I guess we probably all thought a little bit different of how the season was going to go at the beginning of the year, but coming down to the final game against the Titans does seem a little bit fitting.
Yeah, Kai, and we talked to earlier, Brian and I, about how, the Jags have had some kind of circle the calendar games and haven't always shown up for all of them. I feel the difference is today, I don't know if Tennessee has the horses to do what some of these other teams have done. Do you think, though, the Jags, the intensity, the everything is going to be at peak performance today, realizing that a loss ends the year?
It has to be, and the vibe is different, right? It's a rivalry game. Your season depends on this. It's winning in. If you can't get up for this game, you probably shouldn't be playing professional football because all the intangibles are there for you to have motivation, whether you have internal motivation or not. This will give it to you. They haven't performed well in a lot of big games that we had circled on the calendar, but those were against really good teams. And not to discount the Titans, they have a great coach. They've turned things around. They probably played a little bit better than maybe we expected with what they had in terms of injuries and what their roster looks like right now, but this isn't a great team. So if you play your mistake-free footballs, the Jaguars are a better team. They should win this football game, and they should earn their spot in the playoffs.
Kai Stevens with us from Nissan Stadium in Nashville. It's on the travel days for the Jaguars, the social media team puts out these pictures of the players getting on the plane, and they're all dressed up and they got the bags and everything. And I saw a couple comments when they showed Trevor Lawrence's picture on there, Kai, and the comments were, he's holding his bag with his right arm, his right hand. So I guess what's the latest with Trevor? What are you seeing out there right now? Is he out early today? I feel like we've had this conversation before this season.
A couple of weeks we do this. He's not out right now. He usually comes out right about now, so keep my eye out on for that. I don't think his shoulder was falling off. It was more the throwing, right? It was, we would see him, I think it was a pain thing with throwing the football. I know when he originally got injured, and here he comes right now. He's jogging out onto the field. I'll let you know where he gets to in warm-ups right now. But this specific injury to his throwing shoulder was a lot of, will it be further damage? And I think they've gotten past that point. They don't feel he'll further damage it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be playing him. And now it's a pain tolerance thing. And as we've seen with him, he'll play through the pain, right? So if he feels he can be effective or even, above 50%, I think we'll see him out there today. The vibe I would get from this situation, the way they're going with it, is unless we see something totally out of character here in warm-ups in the next 30 minutes, I would assume he would play. Obviously, it'll be a full game time decision, but I think that's kind of the vibe we're getting from it.
Kai, final thought with you here on the defensive side. Josh Allen, 16.5 sacks. He needs another, 3-sack day to finish with the NFL lead this year after T.J. Watt put up a couple yesterday. But the way Josh Allen is finishing off, he finished off last season down the stretch. He was really hot in the last month. If he can finish these last couple of weeks here big, that could help obviously get this team into the playoffs.
Sacks come in bunches for him. Certainly we saw that last week. We've complained about our offensive line at times. The Titans' offensive line is terrible. So this would be a great day to take advantage of that. Trayvon, too, if he could get into double-digit sacks, that would be huge. And obviously, as we know, this team thrives on takeaways. If they can get a strip sack, turn the ball over, force a bad throw, whatever it happens to be with Tannehill, that's going to give this team the best chance at this. If they can give the offense some extra possessions and taking the ball away, hopefully by the hands of Josh Allen or Trayvon, that would be great.
Kai, stay warm. Bring back a division title, will you?
Yeah.
Do what I can. Thank you.
Kai Stevens in the broadcast booth in Nashville, Tennessee. We're closing in on inactives time in about 15 minutes. Up next, Sam Monson of Pro Football Focus. And kickoff at 1 o'clock Eastern for the Jaguars and Titans in Week 18. This is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguars sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguars sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
We've spent a lot of time in our homes.
I'm on a Zoom call.
Dinner's ready.
But we've learned that when we love our home, it loves us right back. Now you can keep that love going when you install energy-efficient natural gas appliances and earn up to $1,925 in cash rebates. You'll love endless hot water, faster drying and cooking times, and ongoing savings and comfort. To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
Hear that? That's the sound of the 2023 Chevy Silverado's 2.7-liter high-output turbo engine, delivering 430 pounds per foot of torque with no compromised durability. Impressive power, whether you're helping friends move or just moving some friends.
Thanks!
This is the sound of a family with plenty of rear seat room to enjoy the ride. And most importantly, this is the sound of you heading to your local Chevy dealer today for a test drive. Find your Silverado and find new roads. Chevrolet.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Paid for by FDOT.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at EverBank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
When it comes to water, choose our team, the winning team. Choose CGC Water Treatment. CGC Water Treatment works, and it works for DG too, former Jags QB, David Garrard.
If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Discover the Kinetico difference.
Call CGC Water Treatment at 844-CGC-JAGS or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars and your local independent Kinetico dealers.
JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from the Hyundai Studios in Jacksonville. The Publix Tailgate Show continues. We are closing in on Week 18, and the 9-7 Jaguars meet the 5-11 Titans at Nissan Stadium, Nashville. Kickoff set for 1 o'clock Eastern. Let's go around Week 18 in the National Football League.
All right, we know if the Jags win, they win the AFC South and they're in the playoffs. What about the rest of the teams trying to vie for playoff spots? Well, the Ravens have theirs locked up as the number one seed in the AFC despite yesterday's loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They knew that going in and benched a lot of their key players, so they've locked up the number one seed. The Dolphins currently sit in the second spot. They have clinch a playoff berth, but if they lose to the Bills on Sunday Night Football, they'll tumble all the way down to be a wild card in the sixth position. The Chiefs are locked in as the number 3 seed in the AFC, so they're going to rest Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce needs 16 yards to have another 1,000-yard season. The feeling is they're going to let him play long enough to get that and get him out of the game. The Texans locked up a playoff berth with their victory over the Colts last night. They win the division, obviously, if the Jags lose today, but the Jags win, Houston could be the 6th seed with a Buffalo loss. Otherwise, they'll be the 7th seed and could be facing Buffalo next week. The Browns are locked in as a number 5 seed in a wild card, and that's who the Jags are hoping to see next week. That means they're alive. That's their best-case scenario. Cleveland coming to Jacksonville. The Bills tonight, it's very interesting. If the Jags win, it's an all-or-nothing game for Buffalo. If they win it, they'll be the number 2 seed in the AFC East champs. If they lose, they'll be out of the playoffs entirely. So they've got as much motivation as anybody, particularly if the Jags do get the job done today. The Steelers win yesterday. They need both the Jags and Bills to lose in order to get the 6th seed. If the Steelers would be out of the playoffs if the Bills and the Jags both win. So they could get the 6th or the 7th, or could be completely out of the playoffs. On the other side, in the NFC, the Niners have locked up the number 1 seed. The Cowboys right now in at number 2, needing to beat the Commanders to lock that down. The Lions still have a chance to move up to 2nd. They play Minnesota today, but they're no worse than the 3rd seed in the NFC. The NFC South, much like the AFC South, up for grabs today. The Bucks get it with a victory. If they lose, the winner of the Atlanta-New Orleans game could claim the division, so all 3 teams viable for the 4th seed. The Eagles currently are the 5 seed. They'll be no worse than that. They could win the division with a victory over the Giants, coupled with a Cowboys loss. The Rams are locked into the playoffs. They'll be 6th or 7th, depending on how the outcomes go today. They'll be 6th if they beat the 49ers, who don't have a whole lot of incentive today. And the Green Bay Packers currently are in the playoff picture. They'll be at the 6th or 7th seed, or they could be out of the playoffs entirely. A win locks them in. They take on the Chicago Bears today, but the team that is watching intently is Seattle. They need a victory and a Green Bay loss to steal one of those wild card spots.
There's your look around Week 18, always wild. The league does a great job of setting up Week 18 for all this drama and the best reality TV there is.
Got great drama last night. I mean, it's going to be an ongoing question the entire offseason in Indianapolis. Why did you take out a guy who was having close to a career day in Jonathan Taylor, and they put Tyler Goodson in? And you can say the play call was effective, but it didn't work because Gardner Minshew threw it behind him, and you got a guy who hasn't touched the ball all day coming in and doing a full-speed pirouette to try to grab it. If he catches it, it's not a guarantee that the Colts win the game, but it at least extends their opportunity right there. But that's going to be a coaching decision I hope that Doug Peterson has no equivalent to today. Right? I hope it's what time do we empty the bench because we're up so big against Tennessee.
Sam Monson is the lead NFL analyst for Pro Football Focus, and we discussed plenty this week in our conversation, including quarterback Trevor Lawrence and outside linebacker Trayvon Walker, the 2 different number 1 overall picks for the Jags. But also, is he buying the Jaguars?
For a team like Jacksonville, the Jags, they've had their struggles, they've had their wobbles, and things haven't gone the way they would have wanted all the time. But if they make it, absolutely, I think they can go on a run as much as anybody.
Sam Monson from Pro Football Focus with us. Trevor Lawrence has had an inconsistent season is the best way to say it. He's been banged up a lot. It's his 4th time on the injury report this year. Missed last week's game, first time in his career. He's turned the ball over a bunch this year, a lot of fumbles. But there have been some good times with Trevor too. And, that's the balance. You want the good things more. You want the turnovers less when he's out there. No word yet on what's happening this week. Doug Peterson has a Friday, said it could go up to game time. However, Trevor Lawrence is the future of this franchise, right? Still in your eyes?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's one of a few quarterbacks this season where I don't think the numbers have fairly reflected his performance. Certainly early in the year, there was a stretch of several games where I think Trevor Lawrence was playing spectacular football and the receivers were letting him down week after week. And I think now people kind of forget about that. It happened earlier in the year. It's a distant memory. We don't really factor it into the numbers. So now the analysis is, well, in recent weeks, he has been playing worse, albeit because of injuries, I think. You mentioned last week was the first game he'd missed due to injury. He probably should have missed a couple before that and didn't. And because he didn't, he didn't play as well as he had previously, right? So I think now you have this analysis where it says, well, he hasn't been playing well recently, and now look at his numbers. Like, his numbers aren't great anyway. Like, this is the guy we've seen all the way through the season. He hasn't been at this level, And we've got some questions to answer about what he is going forward. I think healthy Trevor Lawrence has looked like a fantastic quarterback, and maybe not at the level of, Patrick Mahomes or the best quarterbacks in the NFL, maybe even not at the level of the generational sort of golden boy best prospect since Peyton Manning type of conversation that he was being billed as coming into the NFL, but very, very good. And certainly, way better than any existential questions about whether he's the future of this team. I think he's already demonstrated he's absolutely the future of the team and can be one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Sam, one of the weapons that they brought in for him was Calvin Ridley, of course, and traded for him last year, reinstated by the NFL. And I think he's had an inconsistent season as well. What do you like about Ridley? And here we are. He's close to 1,000 yards, though it might not even feel like it this year.
I've always loved Ridley's route running. I think he's one of the best route runners in the NFL. And he can get open. He can get separation. He has never necessarily been in a role where he has to be the number one receiver in an offense. And, we're in a strange landscape where you can debate how much that means anything anyway. Do you even need a number one receiver, or if as long as you have every sort of receiving characteristic ticked somewhere in the receiving core, does it make a difference or not? I think Jacksonville needs that number one receiver skill set. And by that, I mean a guy that can win consistently on the outside against press coverage in contested catch situations. I don't know if they have that guy on the roster. And, Calvin Ridley, that was the one question mark about his game based off his previous career history is, can he do that? Can he be that guy? And I think this year hasn't really, it certainly hasn't affirmed that he can. It hasn't answered that in a positive direction. His route running is still good. He still gets good separation. He can be a deep threat, but we don't know if he can do that part on a consistent basis. And then, as you said, he has just had some basic inconsistency. So the stuff he does well, he hasn't done so well at times this year. He's got a few drops that were very costly for the team as well. So I think he's a positive, addition to the offense. He's a good player to have on the roster, but it sort of highlights this area in that receiving core that Jacksonville still might not quite have on the roster yet.
Sam, let's go to defense now, and let's start with Trayvon Walker. The number one overall pick a couple years ago. We see Aiden Hutchinson putting up big numbers in moments in Detroit this year, and then Trayvon Walker comes along last week and puts up a couple sacks. And where are you on Trayvon?
I think he is still a work in progress. You see every week, there's a reason they drafted him number one overall, and it's because he's literally the best athlete that has ever entered the league from an edge rusher position. Genuinely, not hyperbole. When you sort of look at the composite metrics, whether it's bend, speed, explosiveness, size, length, all of these things, like he has the most complete picture of any edge rusher prospect of all time. And that shows up on the tape. Like you see it every single week. There's a play or two out there where you're like, there's 2 or 3 guys in the league that can do that. There was a play, it was last week or recently, where he does this kind of Euro step inside the tackle and is immediately getting pressure on the quarterback. Like I've seen Myles Garrett do that, and there's maybe 1 or 2 other guys that can do that, and that's it. End of list. So anytime you can put yourself on that kind of short list and say, look, there's 4 guys on the planet that can make this play, it's a reason to keep chasing that, right? And if we can just drag up the consistency, if we can just improve the frequency that these are happening, we have something special here. But I think that consistency is still a work in progress. I mean, his numbers are better this year than they were a year ago. But one element that is important to note when you're talking about a guy like Walker, and this is in his favor as well, he plays all the snaps. Like he's already well over 800 snaps this year. There are most edge rushers in the NFL won't play 800 snaps in the season, period. And he's already exceeding that. So his numbers are going to look better simply through opportunity, simply through playing 900 snaps in a season. He's going to get more pressure. He's going to get more sacks than other guys that aren't on the field for a lot of these opportunities. So that's a factor. The run of kind of sacks he's on recently, it's not to say they're not high quality sacks or anything, but I don't think it necessarily is a reflection of him turning the corner and him becoming, Rashawn Gary, for example, who took a couple of years to get it for Green Bay and was a similar, very athletic prospect, hadn't necessarily had the production in college. So I think he's still really an unknown, and we're somewhere along his transition. He's capable of amazing plays. He is relatively productive, and he's incredibly durable. I think that part we can say for sure after a couple of years. But now we do need to see, him up the level to be a real impact player. And you can kind of compare him and Aiden Hutchinson in terms of some of those numbers, but Hutchinson does generate a significantly higher volume of pressure on a per rush basis right now than Trayvon Walker does, and does it with less help. I mean, Hutchinson is the number one guy. He's the primary source of pass rush for Detroit. Trayvon Walker is the complement. He's the secondary guy to Josh Allen in Jacksonville. So that's a factor as well.
The full conversation with Sam Monson of Pro Football Focus, including his thoughts on the play of left tackle Cam Robinson and offensive line grading for PFF. It's available now on the official Jaguars podcast network. Inactives are due in mere moments. We'll come back with those. We'll a little later have a fantasy forecast and Frank Frangie in the broadcast booth. Up next, though, inactives and a pregame huddle up podcast with Bucky Brooks and John Oehser in Nashville. We're an hour and a half from kickoff in Week 18 for the Jaguars and the Titans. This is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguar sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguar sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Flight by Yingling. It's the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yingling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass. Raise the bar. Flight by Yingling. Available wherever beer is sold. DG Yingling & Son Incorporated. Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Nothing kicks off your game better than a handful of Georgia peanuts. Power-packed with protein, essential nutrients, and great taste, Georgia peanuts are the MVP for affordability, sustainability, and nutrition. To score life's touchdowns with recipes and fun facts, check out GAPeanuts.com. The perfectly powerful peanut is brought to you by the family farmers of the Georgia Peanut Commission.
Peanut! Get your peanut! It's game day in Jacksonville, and J-Tech is excited to support our hometown team, the Jaguars. Before kickoff, let's take a moment to talk about an important part of our community, the trades. J-Tech believes that everyone deserves the opportunity to learn valuable skills and build a successful career. They're proud to support the Jaguars and our community by offering high-quality trade education to students of all ages. J-Tech is your hometown trades school. Learn more at jtech.org.
JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from the Hyundai Studios in Jacksonville. The Jaguars at 9-7, the Titans at 5-11. Nissan Stadium, Nashville, the site for Week 18. Kickoff at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. A win for the Jaguars. They're the division champs. A loss for the Jaguars. They are out of the playoffs. The inactives are in. Let's get right to them. Christian Kirk, wide receiver, will not play in today's game. Coming off core muscle surgery. was on the practice field this week. He is down for the game today. Yasir Abdullah, outside linebacker, will not play. Cole Van Lannen, offensive lineman, is out. And Angelo Blackson, defensive tackle, also inactive. Matt Barkley, the emergency third quarterback today, is officially inactive but dressed and available if there's an emergency. That means that Trevor Lawrence is up. He is active for today's game, Mike.
Yes, and he'll go against Ryan Tannehill as Will Levis leads the inactives today, the 7 for Tennessee, along with defensive back Anthony Kendall, linebackers Caleb Murphy and Trevis Gibson, a pair of offensive linemen Jalen Duncan and Daniel Brunskill, and defensive lineman T.K. McClendon are the 7 Titans who are unavailable today.
There you have it. The inactives are in. Let's head back to Nissan Stadium, Nashville, Tennessee, and check in with Bucky Brooks and John Oehser. A Huddle Up podcast live on the Publix Tailgate show. And first of all, good morning, gentlemen. And here we go. Trevor Lawrence is up. And there's, one starter from opening day not playing in this game, and it's Christian Kirk. It's pretty remarkable in Week 18. Can they flip the switch this fast and with everybody out there finally?
Well, I don't know about necessarily flipping the switch. I think it's trying to build upon what they started to establish last week, just playing clean football. It starts with doing the simple things really well. And so if they can get back to blocking, tackling, making sure they run to the ball on defense, take care of the ball on offense, they'll have a chance. I think it is encouraging if Trevor plays with the weapons that are available. Zay Jones being around, Calvin Ridley, Evan Ingram. They have more than enough firepower to be able to generate points. It's time for them just to put together a solid performance from beginning to end.
Yeah, watching Trevor in warm-ups, he looked like he could throw 20, 25 yards outs pretty comfortably with some zip. So I think he can make most of the throws. I assume he wouldn't be playing if he couldn't. I think what Bucky said is really important. Get some chemistry going with the receivers in this last game. Get the win, obviously, and then next week work Christian back in, and then you have your full complement. I think what JP said at the top is significant. No long-term IR guys, in terms of the frontline core starter. If you get through this and get in, all of a sudden you got your guys, JP.
Yeah, it's key. You got to win today, obviously, to do it. And, John, you talk about, maybe not being able to make all the throws for Trevor Lawrence. I think a less than 100% Trevor Lawrence can still make a wider variety of throws
Absolutely.
than C.J. Beathard. So, and he didn't throw it more than 10 yards down the field more than once last week. So today we expect, at least at the outset, Tennessee wants to play spoiler, division rival. Jags ended their season last year. They'd like to return the favor. But, Bucky, how long does that last if you punch them in the mouth early and they start thinking about their vacation plans?
I think it lasts as long as the Jaguars allow the Titans to hang in the game. So the first quarter is really telling. If the Jaguars jump on them, then the Titans will fade away and they won't play. But if the Jags let them hang around, then it become a competitive contest and they'll play the entire game. A lot of it depends on, and coaches always say this, it's what we do, not what they do. If the Jaguars come out and take care of business, much like they did last week, move up and down the field, take care of the ball, don't give the ball away on turnovers and silly mistakes, they'll knock the Titans out. And it may be a slow, methodical beatdown, but eventually they'll beat them down because they're the better team.
Yeah, I think it's very similar to last week. I said a lot with the Panthers. As long as they're in the game, then you're over there on the sideline saying, well, cool, as long as we're here, let's go ahead and go win. If you're out of it, if you can get that 9-point lead that the Jaguars had at halftime, then I think all of a sudden in the second half they let down just enough and you get that sort of kill shot touchdown, whatever you call it, that Etienne got. I think it's got a chance to be a very similar game where Doug Peterson in the first half, he will take field goals. He will take points to try to get that scoreboard edge, to try to get the Titans having that mentality you're talking about, Mike, of, okay, well, it's a double-digit deficit now. Let's go ahead and hang it up.
John Oehser, Bucky Brooks joining us from Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee, ahead of Week 18. The Jaguars and the Titans coming up. Jaguars defense, Josh Allen, 16.5 sacks, and T.J. Watt put up a couple yesterday for Pittsburgh, so he's within reach of the league lead for the season if he has a big game again today. But, it always starts with Tennessee and Derrick Henry and the run game, and and all those things. And this team has fared well as of late against Tennessee and this run game. How do they do it today?
Well, I want to hear from the scout here because I look at Derrick Henry, I see he's in the Pro Bowl, but then I also see when I watch him, maybe not quite the same guy. What is he now, Bucky?
Look, he's still a really good player, but, I mean, he's always a guy that needed a runway to get going. And so, big downhill runner. Look, he's physical. And so, it's going to take what it always takes when it comes to dealing with Derrick Henry. Someone early is going to have to hit him in the mouth and slow him down and make him kind of make business decisions. And so, very early, it's important to corral them, 8 men in the box, everyone running to the ball, not assuming that the guy that gets there first is going to make the tackle. They tackle him early, put the Titans in long yardage situations, and make this a Ryan Tannehill game as opposed to a Derrick Henry game.
And, Bucky, you were saying we walked in together. The Ryan Tannehill game thing kind of worries you a little bit, the veteran guy, doesn't he?
Well, just because the veteran guys, like they always can turn back the clock, and it's a little different when you're playing young guys when it comes to, like, changing the coverage and trying to trick him. But make no mistake about it, like, he hasn't played great because obviously they moved on from him to go to Will Levis. And so I'm not going to make him out to be something that he's not, but you have to treat him with enough respect to make sure that you don't do silly stuff in the back end. Everyone has to communicate and be on the same page. You do those things and cover their wide receivers because it's only one wide receiver that you have to worry about, DeAndre Hopkins, and he's not a burner. Take care of those things, and then you lock him up.
Yeah, I'm with you, Bucky. I'd rather be facing Will Levis today, but that's not the situation. So if it is a Ryan Tannehill game, if they can turn it into that, they've got to get that pass rush cranked up. Tennessee's been very generous in that category in allowing sacks. Jags only got 2 the first time they played, despite the dominant performance. Do you expect better out of them today?
Well, a lot of the reason they only were able to generate 2 sacks is because the ball came out quickly. Will Levis was getting the ball. There was a lot of bubble screens, a lot of right now at the line of scrimmage stuff, some run game, and those things. I think they can get after him. I think the most important part is when you make Tennessee play in long yardage situations where it's obvious passing downs, their offensive line can't hold up. And so it's really about overcommitting to stop the run, make them have to get into a drop back game, and then eventually Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, and those guys will eat and eventually hit the quarterback.
To me, that's the matchup, guys, that is the reason the Jaguars ought to win this game. They were dominant against a subpar Tennessee offensive line in November, and the game was really never close. You never doubted during that game who the better team was. If they do that again today, they win the South.
Well, let's hope that happens. The Jaguars looking for back-to-back division titles. Doug Peterson, and, you know, if he gets a playoff berth here, it's, 5 of 7 years, right, Bucky?
Yeah.
I mean, that's unprecedented stuff, really. And 2 different franchises, too.
Yeah, 2 different franchises, but more importantly, be back-to-back division crowns for the Jaguars. Have a chance to get to 10. You win 10 games, and then you have a chance to kind of rewrite the narrative on the season in the postseason. So it's important. Win this game, and then everything is right in front of the Jaguars.
I've been saying it for a couple of weeks, all during the 4-game losing streak. Don't lose sight of how precious opportunities to win divisions around here are. This is a big game.
Yeah, it certainly is. And a win, they get it done. A loss, and they are out of the playoffs. Bucky, John, have a great day.
Hey, man, quit talking about the loss thing. Quit talking about the loss thing. I'm bringing back 2 T-shirts and hats for you guys after we get it.
I wear extra large. Thank you.
2 extra.
That's Bucky Brooks and John Oehser. Check out the weekly Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks show Wednesdays at 4 on Jaguars.com and the Jaguars YouTube channel. We are closing in on Jaguars Radio Network coverage. Countdown to kickoff starts at noon Eastern. Up next, though, a fantasy forecast. And Frank Frangie in the broadcast booth in Nashville. The Jaguars and the Titans coming up in Week 18. This is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguars sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguars sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Unlock your potential at the University of North Florida. A top public university with more than 100 majors, UNF is #1 among state schools with the highest percentage of graduates employed in Florida. Affordable tuition, programs in high-demand fields, and faculty who care. Swoop into your future at UNF. Visit unf.edu to learn more.
Since 1916, Duval Motor Company is here to keep you and your vehicle off the sidelines. Their all-star lineup of dealerships provides superior sales, maintenance, and repairs for every make and model with Ford, Honda, Acura, Subaru, Chevrolet, and everything in between. At every Duval location across North Florida, Duval Motor Company always puts service first. In-store, online, or at your front door. Get service first with DuvalMotorCompany.com.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Touchdown at Jaguars away games when you fly nonstop from Jacksonville International Airport. Join the Jaguars in New Orleans and Pittsburgh. Watch them win in Houston and Nashville. All the other Jaguars games are just one short connection away. And if airport parking has you stressed, be sure to visit the Jax Airport website before traveling to the terminal. On it, you'll find information about the status of on-airport parking in real time. See if your favorite areas are available or if you need to call an audible. Visit flyjax.com for more information.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand-new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Final moments of the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick and Mike Dempsey from the Hyundai Studios in Jacksonville. The Jags and the Titans, Week 18 kickoff set for 1 o'clock Eastern. Nissan Stadium, Nashville, Tennessee, the site. How about a fantasy forecast, Mike?
Well, most fantasy leagues are done. But in Week 18, what happens is a lot of people play daily fantasy where they just pick a lineup for that week and try to win a little cash and have a little fun doing that. So you got to be aware of all the situations out there, which teams are incentivized to win and which are not. We'll start with New Orleans, where they're certainly incentivized to win. They win, and they're the division champs, provided the Buccaneers lose. But Alvin Kamara's not available today, so Jamal Williams going to get the start, it looks like. Probably some Kendre Miller mixed in. He hasn't played very much. He was a mid-round rookie pick for them. So Jamal Williams, doesn't really feature much in the passing game, but and you also have the specter of Taysom Hill stealing some goal line touches. Probably still not a desired fantasy option, even though he's going to get the start today. Pierre Strong could be an interesting play for the Cleveland Browns. They've locked up their spot, and we hope to host them here next week. You can expect Jerome Ford not to play, maybe just a slight bit of Kareem Hunt, but Strong could get a lot of carries in that matchup. T. Higgins inactive for the Bengals, by the way. Minnesota and Detroit, Jamison Williams not playing for the Lions. Johnny Munt is a sneaky kind of cheap tight end option as T.J. Hawkinson out for the year for Minnesota. He's been getting a decent amount of targets lately. It's supposed to be snow and really cold weather, windy in the Jets-New England game. It's the final game, perhaps, for Bill Belichick in his career. Should be dominated on the ground by both sides. Breece Hall and Ezekiel Elliott should get big workloads today. Rashad White is an excellent play for the Tampa Bay Bucs in a must-win game going up against the Carolina defense that's been giving it up against the run all year long. Most of the Packer pass catchers are healthy. If you're going to play one, Jaden Reed's probably the best one, but it all works to the benefit of the quarterback Jordan Love. Zamir White, one of the favorite DFS plays this week among running backs for the Las Vegas Raiders with Josh Jacobs ruled out, and White's gotten heavy workloads now 3 weeks in a row. You can expect that against a suspect Denver run defense as well. Darius Slayton's been an interesting play for the Giants ever since Tyrod Taylor came in. He's been his preferred downfield option, so look for him to get a couple of deep shots today as well. The Chiefs are locked into the 3 seed. They don't have a whole lot of incentive today as they play at the L.A. Chargers. Josh Palmer could be an interesting option there with Keenan Allen missing the season finale. Once again, Palmer was cleared to play. The Rams in San Francisco, backup running backs galore. Ronnie Rivers for L.A. and both Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason could be viable for the Niners. And then finally, Sunday Night Football. It's going to be for the Buffalo Bills. If the Jags win, it's winning you're in, losing you're out. They're highly incentivized. On the other side, Miami's already locked into the playoffs, but certainly want to win the game to win the division, host at least one playoff game next week, possibly more. Raheem Mostert and Jalen Waddle, both questionable. Early reporting today indicates that neither one of them likely to play tonight against the Buffalo Bills.
There you have it. Fantasy forecast is in. Let's head back to Nashville, Nissan Stadium. Jags play-by-play announcer Frank Frangie standing by, and, well, here we are, Week 18. Yeah. Everything on the line, Frank, is just what everybody wanted going into this one.
Yeah, good morning, JP, to you and Mike. There's not much mystery. Is there? Win and in, lose, you're out. And we figured that out yesterday afternoon. I think they're ready for this. It's a cool day here. I know you've talked to the gang here already. It's about 41 degrees. The real feel is 35. When you're a wimpy Floridian like me, that's cold. But it's a good day for football and a good day to win a division title for only back-to-back division titles, JP, for only the second time in your 29-year history. Pretty cool.
Frank, it was trending towards the end of the week that Trevor Lawrence would play, and obviously now we get the official word that he is starting today for the Jaguars. What kind of performance do you expect?
Yeah, Mike, I think they're going to protect him some. I think I've got to believe that shoulder's still kind of sore. That'd be my guess. So I'm going to guess that they're probably going to run the ball like they did last week. My guess is the game plan is going to kind of look like it looked last week. They'll run it more than they throw it. There'll be a controlled passing game. I don't think you're going to, if you can help it. Now, if you get down, you don't have any choice. But if you stay ahead of the sticks and stay ahead of the scoreboard, I'm going to guess there's going to be some crossing routes and some horizontal passing. I don't think you're going to see the ball down the field as much as you typically would in a Trevor game. But I'm glad he's playing. I think he gives them a boost. There's a toughness that he brings. I know you know that. It's great to have 16 out there, that's for sure.
Frank Frangie in Nashville with us. Jeffrey Simmons not there for Tennessee, but they do have some other guys that can get after it a little bit in the pass rush game. So what about the offensive line today and that battle up front?
You know, it's funny. Jeffrey Simmons is a great player. He's one of the great tackles in the league. Danico Autry's quietly having a really good year. He's got 11.5 sacks, JP. So they've still got some guys. Look, and Arden Key obviously has been talking all week like he typically does. So Arden Key wants to play well this week. But they're not as good. The Titans are not as good a football team, JP, top to bottom, as they have been over the years. We know that. At some point, everybody rebuilds. Everybody reloads. Everybody has to retool, and that's where I think the Titans are. A team that has been perennially tough and physical and really good, only has 5 wins this year. So it's a struggling team, really didn't play well last week against Houston. So, yeah, there's some pass rushers there. There always are, but it's not a Tennessee team of old for sure.
Well, it's some pass rushers here, Frank. Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, the best combined duo in the league in the sack department. Not something that many would have predicted going into the season. Does Josh Allen end with another flourish? He has a chance to lead the league in sacks for another day, replicating what he did last week.
Gosh, he's been terrific, Mike. You are so right. Josh Allen having the 16.5 sacks and Trayvon with his 9. I agree with you. I tell you what I hope happens. Obviously, they're going to try and run Derrick Henry, Mike. I think we all know that. So they're going to pass when we hope they pass when we want them to, not when they want to. So I'm hoping there's a lot of 2nd and 9s, and that means Tajay Spears is in the game instead of Derrick. And then I think there's a real chance. If the Titans don't win on first down when they have the ball, and they're facing a lot of 2nd and longs and 3rd and longs, then I think Josh Allen and Trayvon can have field days. I think that's the key. Those front guys, those linebackers, have to win on first down to keep the Titans in long yardage situations. Because I don't think the Titans want to throw it much either, Mike. I think this is a game where teams want to run the ball. It's going to be a low-scoring game would be my guess. Win first down and then let Josh and Trayvon tee off on 2nd and 3rd.
Frank Frangie with us in Nashville, and Foye Oluokun right there near the top again in the league in tackles, but no Pro Bowl nod. He is an alternate, but I mean, that's going to be, if he has a big day today, it could be the 3rd year in a row now he's led the league in tackles without a Pro Bowl. That's pretty remarkable.
Boy, it really is. And think about this, too, JP. This is a game where they're going to run it. So you would think Foye Oluokun's going to get a bunch of tackles. Leading the league in tackles 3 years in a row, leading the National Football League in tackles 3 years in a row is not easy, man, on 2 different franchises, no doubt. So He has been really terrific. I agree with you. Of the guys that got missed, I'm really upset that Ingram didn't get in. He's got 100 catches. We all know the stat about the 8 tight ends. But the fact that Foyer's not in the Pro Bowl is a bunch of bunk, if you ask me. So I think he has a big game today. I think the ball's going to be on the ground, a lot of Derrick Henry. That means a lot of linebacker play from the team defending them.
Zaire Franklin put up a big game, so he's at 179 now. Foyer at 166, so he would need 14 to overtake him today, which is it's within the realm of possibility in a game like today. How you feeling overall about today, Frank?
You know what? I think I think the Jags have the better team, JP. I really do, and I think the Jags have the better football team. I think the Jags have the better quarterback. I think the Jags are supposed to win this game, and they have been very good with their back up against the wall under Doug Peterson. We all know that. And look, in that 4-game swoon, they played 4 teams that are better than this team. The Bucs were playing very well at that point. Cincinnati was thinking playoffs at that point. Cleveland and Baltimore are in the playoffs, JP. This is a team that I'm not saying they're better than the Panthers, who the Jags played last week, but they don't have a great football team. The Jags have a better football team. I think the Jags are in a good place mentally. I think Jacksonville wins the game. I really do.
Have a great call and bring back a division title.
Yeah. All right, fellas. Thank you.
Frank Frangie in Nashville, Nissan Stadium in the broadcast booth ahead of the Jaguars and the Titans. And the Jags looking for back-to-back division titles. And after yesterday's action, of course, a loss means the Jaguars would be out of the playoffs. A win would give them the division title and a home playoff game in the wild card round next week against the Cleveland Browns, a rematch game. But got to handle business today against the division rival that now the Jaguars have beaten 3 times in a row.
Yeah, if you win today and you come out of it relatively healthy, at least no new injuries, you hit the reset button, and nothing that came before this regular season is going to matter, and it's all going to be the focus here at EverBank next Sunday, or maybe Saturday, maybe Monday, probably.
Probably not Monday.
But regardless, you got to win today. Otherwise, the season's a dismal failure, quite frankly, if they lose this game today based on the expectations and the place they found themselves in after 11 games.
Yeah, 8-3 start. Yeah, they got to finish this thing out.
Yeah, right. You can't lose 5 of your last 6 and let it all get away. Tennessee will tell you all about that, so don't let them return the favor.
Well, they would love to do that today in Nashville. The Jags and the Titans coming up. Up next, though, it's Jaguars Radio Network coverage with Countdown to Kickoff. We'll hear from Pride of the Jaguars running back Fred Taylor, and, of course, the final word before kickoff with Jags head coach Doug Peterson. The Jags and the Titans in just over an hour in Week 18. This has been the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguar sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguar sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Tackle your marketing needs with Kessler Creative. Providing direct mail services for more than a decade, Kessler has a wide range of services from small mailers to large banners and signs. Draft Kessler as your first pick to receive the best targeted mail list. Elevate your business and be on the winning team with Kessler Creative. Kessler Creative, results-driven marketing and proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, EverBank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Who will your child grow up to be? Well, that depends on all of us. That's why, along with our groundbreaking medical care, Nemours Children's Health supports programs that address issues like food insecurity and the resources essential to learning. It's all part of creating a healthier future for all children. So they can grow up to be whoever they want to be.